This live stream is presented to you by MaxSpeed TV. All live streaming content that is presented in this telecast is owned by MaxSpeed TV, Rudy Cummings, and the entire crew of MSTV. This may not be rebroadcasted, retransmitted, and retelevised without written consent. Please enjoy today's broadcast. Round number 6 out of 10 takes us to Martinsville Speedway as we duke it down here for the iSCAR Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Tour. Getting set to go green here just momentarily. My name is Ezeckiel Reyes.
And I'm Dewey Schramm. Thank you guys for coming back and tuning in here for tonight's race. Of course, it's been a week since we've been on the air, since the race last week at Lucas Oil. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the Daytona race weekend. Congrats to Ben Rhodes, Austin Cindric, and Michael McDowell on winning their respective races here. So hopefully you guys were all able to tune into those and have a great time with some friends like we did. So back here at the Paperclip here in Martinsville, Virginia, brings us again to round number 6 of this season. And as we take a look at the point standings through the first half of the season, Christopher Weil, who dominated last week and won the race, now a 24-point lead over Dominic Howe in second place. With only 5 races left, that lead could potentially get bigger and bigger, and it might make it harder and harder for Dominic to try to get that lead away.
Yep, that's right. Currently having a couple of mic issues right now. We'll try to get that situated here in a moment, but otherwise than that, we'll get that situated and squared away. But you see the point standings here right in front of your screen. Yeah, of course, for Christopher Weil in that number 41. With 96 points, he seems fair over Dominic Howe and Nick Miller, who have I wouldn't say the best of runs right now, but you know they're up there, and but Weil is just he's pulling away already by 20 points over them.
Yeah, and with the smaller fields that this series typically has, it's less of an opportunity for those guys further back to try to get that points lead to be smaller. And we only had, I think, 10 or 11 cars last week, and I think we have around 15 tonight. So Dominic can't even mathematically make that entire 24-point gap up tonight, but he'll have to basically win and hope Chris has a really bad night to even try to get it closer. So with the smaller fields, it means the guys behind Chris have to work even harder than they otherwise would have had to. Just under a minute here left in practice. Jackson Minshew currently on top of the board, though I think that's probably a wall ride lap. Points leader Christopher Weil, that's a wall ride lap. Weil, though, up in second with a 19 flat right now, so that 41. Despite buying the Super Late model less than a day before the opening race of the season at Irwindale, he has been able to figure these cars out pretty quick and has been one of the most consistent drivers out on the track.
Yeah, here he is running in second place. Everybody else just Rosero has been fast, Ethan Johnson and Omar Diallo, of course. All of those drivers have been close and have gotten wins before. And for this number 41, a chance to extend the points lead here tonight.
Yeah, and won the previous Wednesday series, back when we did the Yost Auto Sales series, won that championship. So trying to make it back-to-back Wednesday series titles for that 41. We'll be back here in just a couple of brief moments here for qualifying, but in the meantime, we'll play the national anthem here for tonight. So rise up, remove your hats, as we salute our nation's colors.
And we welcome everybody back here live for the iSCAR Chuck Anderson Ford Super Late Model Tour. Apologies about my mic, we got that fixed and squared away. And we'll go ahead and drive ourselves into this current session as of right now. It seems as though there's more people joining in, so of course, the more people we have into the session, the more points that are available. So exciting to see more faces here show up late.
Yeah, it makes Dominic Howe's job just a bit easier. We were mentioning just before the break that with only about 15 people in the session tonight, it makes it even harder to try to get that points gap down. But with more people in the session, that means there are now more points available for people like him to try to lessen that gap. In the meantime, Christopher Wilder, the points leader, currently on top of the board here in qualifying with the two Johnsons, Hunter and Ethan, right behind in second and third. Carson Poindexter, Christopher's teammate, currently in fourth, and Jacob Hefner rounds out the top five for right now. Good to see Jacob back after running, I believe, USA earlier this season.
Yep, that is right. So it seems as though we have 17 drivers in for this 100-lap event, so we should have a lot of great racing going on throughout tonight. And of course, we went green all the way from start to finish. Our third ever iSCAR event has gone green all the way. First coming at Stafford in the street stocks, where only 8 people showed up, so no wonder it went green all the way. But Xfinity Atlanta went green, which was a total surprise to both of us. I remember Dewey commentating that race with me. And of course, last night, where 10 people showed up to Lucas Oil. So it should be, I wouldn't say a chaotic night, but with more people on the racetrack, there should be more action.
Yeah, that Xfinity Atlanta race was certainly something, but yeah, I mean, with this being, of course, Martinsville and it being the late models, I have my doubts for this race going green all the way, but we'll see how it goes compared to the other races we've had. Of course, the other 4 series that we've run this season have all come here already, and some of them were caution fest, some of them were a bit cleaner than others, so we'll see how this one fits in to the ones that we've already encountered here so far. And as we get a look at Luca Faro's number 54, he'll be qualifying here tonight. We'll see when he gets himself off pit road.
I'll go ahead and just pull up race analysis here on the left-hand side of the screen. The iRacing track length, just a half mile. No configuration, except if you want to run backwards. Elevation about 700 above sea level. Time of day looks like 19 o'clock. So go ahead and subtract 12 from that. It should be around 7 p.m. So we should transition into the night as the race goes on. Pit road speed 35. 2 tire sets. Shouldn't have a fuel window. We did have a fuel window last week though. So if this race does go green, that should present an opportunity for that fuel window to kick in. But with 17 drivers on the racetrack, I expect a few cautions to come out.
And that was weird because we didn't even expect that there was going to be a fuel window last week. That caught us all off guard,
That's right.
I think. So we'll see if that happens again tonight. Weather on the bottom right, track temp only 66, so a pretty cool racing surface. And of course, as the session transitions into the night, that will likely decrease. And just as I say that, it decides to go up to 76 because I can't have nice things when I try to explain things on this broadcast.
No, it just went back to. I don't even know what's
And now
yeah,
it goes back down to 66.
It's just doing its.
Just ignore what I say.
Yeah, it's doing its classic shenanigans and stuff. But we'll go ahead and pull up the or as I at least attempt to scroll through. Oh, looks like ATVO just wanted to freeze. So let me go ahead and restart that ASAP and get ourselves situated. But currently, we do have heats in for tonight. So,
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, instead of yesterday.
Tonight.
Yep, that's right. So more opportunities for some of these drivers to get themselves in some more laps and such like that. So, unlike last week in which the session was a bit screwed up, rather than just one plain old race, should be multiple races. So we should see at least 3. Or 2.
Yeah, like the previous races, we have the 2 main heats and then the LCQ, which, as I've called it before in other races, tonight will effectively be the who will start where in the race, because I believe the field limit for this series is, I want to say, 25. So the LCQ is just going to be tonight, just a race to figure out who starts where. Rolling off row number 1 here for heat number 1, Christopher Weil, the points leader, in the 41, and Ethan Johnson, who's outside, in the 15.
Row 2 going to be Jacob Hefner in the 35, Ryan Kendrick alongside of him.
I think this might be the overall qualifying order rather than
that might be right.
The heat order. So it looks like LaFaro's going to be 3rd, Kendrick
Here he
4th.
is. So
Kevin White Jr. and Nick Miller 5th and 6th. Yeah, I think this is the overall starting order.
all right.
Yeah.
So now I'm on the correct order. So now
But I don't think Hefner's in this heat.
no
Unless he
this
didn't grid up.
yeah Hefner didn't grid up, so
Oh, well, I'm dumb. Okay. Well, this is the correct starting order. So
Oh,
Hefner was going to start 3rd, but now is not. So LaFaro will jump up a row to the inside, and he'll be 3rd instead of 5th. So excuse my laps there, but Omar Diallo and Kevin White will round out the field, and Jackson Menchu. So somebody else didn't grid up as well, I don't think.
well, it looks like only 9 people in this heat event, so we'll get ourselves situated and going forward for this one as the field works themselves off into turns number
Green flag,
4. Green flag, we're up and away here for heat number 1.
Should be a pretty quick one here. Of course, the heat.
Oh, my!
Oh, Weil gets into Ethan Johnson. Oh, and Diallo and Kevin White make contact in there.
Oh my
no,
gosh!
Over goes to 13, and he's going to barrel roll here down the backstretch, and he will land on his lid. And a tough start to the night here for Kevin White Jr. as him and Diallo made contact trying to avoid the 15 who was spinning, and out of turn 2, he got hooked right up and over.
Oh man, that's a messy start, but we'll get ourselves situated as the field rolls themselves through 1 and 2. I mean 3 and 4. So Weil up front now, and yeah,
That was something.
Ethan Johnson tried to come down, and I wouldn't say he was clear, but turned across Weil's nose, and a lot of people usually misjudge how big the super late model is. These bodies are super long. And unfortunately, a misjudgment there turned that number 15 around. So it hands Weil the lead and basically the pole for tonight's feature.
I wouldn't give him the pole just yet. I mean, of course, he still has 4 more laps to make his way around this track. It is not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination, but of course the odds are definitely in his favor. But of course, it only took us about 15 or so seconds of racing before we got our first flip of the night, but hopefully for Kevin White Jr., that does not happen to him in the actual race tonight. Got a battle here between, I think, Diallo, and you see the damage to his car after that contact with Kevin White, and he will go around to the inside of Jackson Menchu, and that, I believe, is for P6. Oh, no, P5.
Yeah,
That's
so
a lot of damage at 77.
yeah, top 5 secure themselves forward into the heat. I mean the feature. So that's a pass there for what is to be, I think, 9th place. So for Jackson Menchu, Ethan Johnson, Kevin White Jr., unfortunate for them, they're gonna have to race again and get themselves through to put themselves inside that top 10. We see the white flag as 1 more lap to go for Christopher Weil in this number 41.
Yeah, and a reminder that, of course, with the field under 25 for tonight, they're at no risk of being eliminated. They just have to run a couple more laps than these guys have to. But out of 4, Christopher Weil will take the win here in heat number 1, and he'll be followed up by Ryan Kendrick and Nick Miller. So last week's winner and the points leader will start from the pole here tonight, as we'll get ourselves graded up for heat number 2. Looks like Hunter Johnson and Carson Poindexter be the front row here for this one.
And next row back looks like Dominic Howe in the 86, Michael Brazzero in the number 23 right behind.
At 23, has had some good runs this season. Row number 3, Harrison Chandler in the 22. Good to see him back here on the track tonight. Garrett Hestu is outside the 91.
Row number 4, and the final row we're going to read off, Harry Grindle in the number 70, Stephen McGough in the 123. Good to see Steven run another iSCAR event. Seems as though all 8 drivers are gridded up, so we'll go fairly quickly up and away with this heat. And this is to line up the outside row. So everybody inside this top 5 will secure themselves 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, and 10th.
Yeah, you mentioned Stephen McGo. Good to see him back. I think it's been a while since he's been here at an iSCAR event, so good to see your face return here for tonight's event. Carson Poindexter, always one to watch here in these super late models. It's been a while since he's run one of these races. I don't even think he's actually run any of these races so far this season, but always one to watch when he's here. So we'll see how that 21 fares tonight as he continues his trek for his first ever iSCAR victory.
Yeah, who knows when that first victory is going to come. Carson doesn't really like road courses, so I don't expect it to come up this weekend unless he pulls off a major upset on the road course side at Watkins Glen and or Charlotte Roval. And yeah, 21, of course, in multiple chases. Of course, championship contender in my eyes. Should be fun to see him on how he resides here on the short track side.
Yeah, should be an interesting one for sure here. Of course, Hunter Johnson, he's won, I think, 2 races this season. I know he won Richmond, and I think he won another one as well. But out of 4, him and Carson will lead us to the green here.
Green flag,
as the flag man is going to wave it, and we're underway here for Heat 2, 8 laps to determine the outside row here for our main event.
Working to 1. Looks like Poindexter in the 21 didn't get a good restart. He'll be side by side with the 86, the Dominic Cow. But Poindexter does get the run off into off of turn number 2. So a fairly clean restart. I mean, a fairly clean start compared to what we saw on that first heat. But they're starting to bottle up right behind this number 21. So you might see a bit of contact here momentarily.
Yeah, thankfully nobody flipped on lap 1 this time. But of course, we still have about 6.5 laps left for somebody to potentially flip again, as they're pretty much single file here out of turn 4. No real action, I suppose, going on quite yet, but got a couple bumper-to-bumper cars here right now as Brendel's right behind that 22 of Chandler, and further up that 86 trying to find a way around that 21, but Rosiero's going to peek the nose under into 3, but can't quite get the nose in there.
Yeah, Rosiero's going to have to file back himself in line as he blinks out just momentarily. The 70. Grindle might have tagged the outside wall. I'm not really sure. He hiccups the 91. Garrett Hess. Stephen McGo also in the mix as well. But yeah, everybody just minding their own P's and Q's for this heat. Probably taking an example. Setting the bar for what is to be a fun 100-lap event. And get themselves through the first couple of corners. Seems as though Hunter Johnson is starting to pull away from this number 21 of Carson Poindexter. The gap is now 0.6 between 12 and the mirrored 21.
Yeah, the 12 looks to be one of the best cars, of course, in the session so far. With that 41 that picked up the first heat, and we'll see if Hunter can try to repeat his performance at Richmond when he picked up the victory here in these cars and as the Cup cars when we ran there the same, I believe, weekend. As you have a rear camera shot here of that 21 down the front stretch. Just 3 to go here, actually 2 to go now in the heat. I don't know if he's going to be able to try and catch that 12, but at this point he might be better served trying to hold off the 86, who's right there.
Stand by, we'll see the white flag for this number 12, Hunter Johnson. 1 more lap to go for him to start on the outside pole where he needs to be. And see right behind this 5th spot being held by this number 22 of Harrison Chandler. It seems as though the 70 of Harry Grindle cannot catch that 22, so Harry is going to have to race 1 more time to qualify on in checkered flag for the 12. He'll win heat number 2.
Yeah, rather uneventful heat. I don't know if there were any passes actually made in that heat, but I don't think that's representative of what we'll see here in the main event tonight. And here we have the affectionately named who will start where in the race, which would be the LCQ if there were more than 25 cars in the field. However, there are not. So this will merely just be to determine the starting order from positions 11 through 17. And looks like for this heat, or this extra race, Ethan Johnson and Harry Grindle will be the front row here. And looks like only 5 of the 7 cars are going to grid up for it.
Yeah, Hefner and Menchu.
Grid up again. And Menchu. So it looks like Menchu's going to sit this one out, and it looks like he'll probably roll off 16th for the main event. And hopefully Hefner will come back for the main event.
Alright, so here we go. So it's Ethan Johnson, Harry Grindle lead the field off to who's gonna win this LCQ. Of course, everybody gets themselves in. If we had
the right to start 11th.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Everybody from 11th on down. This is gonna be the order that they're gonna start in. So. Should be fun. Of course, we see a lot of shenanigans happen during the last chance qualifier. We saw it happen with Henry Tabor at Thompson when that show went down. Here we go. Pace car scoots itself on in and go ahead and take the green.
That Thompson LCQ was something else. But hopefully we'll have a more interesting one here tonight, as we will take the green here for 10 laps to determine who will get the right to start 11th, and 15 already blocking the 70 into turn 1. So Ethan Johnson wasting no time at all trying to hold that field back, as Kevin White Jr., who flipped on lap 1 of Heat 1, tries to get second away from that 70.
Look at them shove it under Harry for this position. They're still side by side as Harry wiggles off the corner. Gonna lose a bit of time, so this will allow the 13 to pull forward, but Harry's gonna sail it into the corner, trying to pinch this number 13 down, and it looks like it's working well because he's side by side with him.
Yeah, and meanwhile, as they do that, that 15 is already gone. That lead already is second in just a single lap. So that block off the initial start was a good move by the 15, as he's gotten quite the advantage now over the rest of this field, as the 13 and the 70 still side by side with Hess right behind him.
Yeah, with these two side by side, sort of boxing in this number 91 of Garrett Hess, as well as Stephen Go. Can't really go anywhere for right now, but Harry seems as though he got a launch off the corner, and looks like he'll take second spot. Move. So nice move there on the high side, and rarely you see outside passes here at Martinsville, but the 70 just making it work.
Sometimes persistence is key, and for that 70 car, it is just that, as he gets himself into the right to start 12th versus 13th. So in the grand scheme of things, not really a big deal, but, you know, I mean, a pass is a pass, so I guess take him where you can get him.
Yep, that is right, and Harry slowly starting to pull away from this number 13. I wouldn't say he's pulling away. He's actually fairly close to this number 70, but in the meantime of that, this number 15, Ethan Johnson, again, as you said, he's checked out now 2 seconds over this second place car of Harry, but of course you gotta talk about the battling that he was doing there with that number 13. And here at Martinsville, if you're side by side with somebody, your racing groove of course funnels down the slower you become. So if you gotta make passes here efficiently and quickly as well, so the less time you're side by side, the more time you have rolling forward.
Yeah, and you have to consider as well that, you know, taking that high side will probably eat the tires up around the same as it will on the bottom. So, I mean, you can, of course, send it in there to try to get that pass, but you have to remember that you're eating up tires in the process. So, I don't know how much of a big deal tires will be as this race goes on, but you have to be mindful of that, of course, when you try to make moves like that. Because if you end up burning up your tires trying to get by somebody, and they end up with more fresher tires than you do, then you'll just lose that spot right back, and you'll have done all that work for nothing.
Yeah, that's right. 2 laps to go this time by as we're working to turns number 1 and 2. Ethan has already pulled himself by 2.5 seconds, but the battle for second is not over as Harry tags the wall. So did Kevin, I think. And they all took different entry points coming into turn number 3. Still fairly close to each other, so this battle ain't over. As they see the white flag for this number 15 at Ethan Johnson. Again, he's checked out. 2.7 seconds separate himself and Grindle.
Yeah, pretty effortless, honestly, from that 15. Did that initial block coming to the start, and that was about all she wrote. And out of turn 4, Ethan Johnson will win the who gets to start where in the race, and he will roll off 11th for the main event tonight. Harry Grindle and Kevin White Jr., the next 2 up, and then Hess and Stephen McGough. So they will start 11th through 15th here tonight. as we'll have the little warm-up session unless it gets skipped. And there's your whole starting order.
Yep, that's right. Your whole grid shown on the left-hand side of the screen. Should be fun to see 17 drivers whip themselves around at this small paperclip-like racetrack. Of course, track nicknamed paperclip for a reason. Lots of straightaway, very little turns, so should be fun to see on how it'll all turn out. And of course, the man who won here last time, I'm not really sure if he actually been to this track. Dewey, go ahead and check up on that statistic.
Yeah, we have been here before in Season 1. We had 18 drivers for that one, so one less this time around than last time. And it might be weird to think about, but Martinsville is roughly the same length as Bristol. But of course, Martinsville and Bristol are two entirely different racetracks, even though they're both short tracks. So it's weird, I guess, and also cool how even though all these short tracks are around the same length, how unique and different they can all be to each other.
Yep, that's right. Every single oval on the sim or off the sim is just unique in its own characteristic. Here at Martinsville, what defines Martinsville as Martinsville is the racing groove, as well as how small the banking is and how long the straightaways are. All matters about how much you want to pinch, as well as how good of an exit you could get off of the corners, because it's going to be a long ways ahead all the way to turns number 1 or turns number 3. So it should be interesting to see on how all these drivers will adapt to the super late model, as well as set their car up right for this 100 lap event.
And speaking of Bristol, we go here of course later on in the season, and I believe that had the most cars out of any race last season with around 33. So it should be a big crowd again, I would hope, for that one. Only about 2.5 minutes left here in the warm-up. Again, we've already determined the starting lineup here for tonight. And points leader Christopher Weil will lead us to the green, along with that 12 right there of Hunter Johnson, on track right now with the 77 of Omar Diallo. And that 77's been really, really fast these last couple weeks. Hasn't quite been able to get in a victory lane in about a month or so. But every time he's out on the racetrack, he's always been a threat to win, and it should be no different here tonight.
Yeah, that's right. That number 77 of Omar, I don't know how many wins he has in iSCAR as right now, but one of the faster rookies, of course, picking up multiple wins in the Cup Series, I know, at Charlotte as well as Atlanta. So not only is he fast on the short track side, where he picked up a win in the Truck Series at Richmond, he's also fast on the NASCAR 1.5 type of ovals. So this 77 has the talent to maybe shape himself an all-around driver like Hunter Johnson, and just running into a couple of people, having a bit of fun there in that 77. But Omar, yeah, seems as though he's one of the square-up contenders for that number 12, Hunter Johnson, who's just day in, day out the fastest car on the racetrack. So should be fun to see on how it'll all go.
Yeah, the 12 and 41 are always two of the best guys on the racetrack, but 77 definitely has the potential to basically make that a big three of guys where no matter what car it is and what track it is, they're always going to be contenders up towards the front. See who can do that. And as we get a look here at that 41, about a minute left here in the warm-up. Already mentioned, won the pole overall, led every lap of Heat 1 to start on the pole for the main event. Won last week at Richmond, or no, we were not at Richmond last week. Won last week at Lucas Oil after winning the pole there and leading every lap. So, I mean, he's been on an absolute tear here in this series lately, and with a 24-point lead on Dominic Cow, it's going to take quite the effort to take him out of that championship lead.
Yep, that is right. And of course, that point, that points lead is over 20. So, as you said, Dominic Cow cannot make up as many points as he'd like to just from this race alone. So it should be interesting to see on how it'll all go. But in the meantime, that warm-up has hit the double zeros, and we're going to have to scoot ourselves forward into the grid here for tonight. So congratulations again to the number, just give it a moment as it transitions, but congratulations to Christopher Weil in the number 41. I think he'll start to the top as finally it transitions. So Weil will start up top, and there's the number 12, Hunter Johnson. As you mentioned, fast in, day out. Not row number 2, gonna be starting second.
Yep, the 2 heat winners there in row 1. Row number 2, Ryan Kendrick, who finished second in heat 1, and Carson Poindexter, runner-up in heat 2.
All right, so it's going to be Nick Miller going to round out the top of 5. Dominic Howe in that 86, right outside. That number 86 has been fast as well. Of course, he sits top 3 in points.
Luke Faro, been here every race, but hasn't quite been able to get himself up towards the front. Maybe he'll be able to do that tonight, and he'll be joined in row 4 by Michael Rosero in the 23.
Row number 5 going to be Omar Diallo in that number 77. We just mentioned about him and his storyline. I mean, that 22 of Harrison Chandler starting in 10th place.
Row number 6, Ethan Johnson, who just won the Who Gets to Start 11th competition. He'll start in that 11th spot. And Harry Grindle, he'll roll off 12th.
Kevin White Jr. in the number 13 will round himself out in the 13th position. Garrett Hess alongside of him.
Row number 8, Stephen McGough in the 15th spot, and Jackson Menchu in the 99. And rounding out your field here for tonight is Jacob Hefner in the 35, and I don't know if he girded up or not.
Yeah, it looks like 14 drivers going to hit the track. Something happened to Stephen McGough. Hopefully he'll get back onto the racetrack here in a moment, but 100 laps going to be logged in here for this one. Drivers getting set to go green. And again, we'll show up race analysis here on the left-hand side of the screen. Half mile in length, iRacing track-wise, and hit the 1-to-go signal. So we're transitioning into the night. And that's number 41, Christopher Weil, trying to pull it 2 in a row here from Lucas Oil onto Martinsville.
And I believe he won another race this season as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe he has 2 wins already to his name in this series. So we're trying to make it another one here tonight and extend that points lead over the 86 of Dominic, who starts himself in P6. So that 86, after finishing last week at Lucas Oil, really needs a great run tonight to stay in that championship hunt.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out. Up and away we go. Hunter is going to get the jump on that number 41 of Weil. So we'll see if Hunter could clear into 1. Looks like he doesn't. We'll be side by side with the 41 into 1.
Yeah, the 12 with a great jump off the start there. And he might be going to run up high into turn 3. We'll see if he can maybe clear this time. The 41 will pull more even than he was going into 1. And out of 4, the 41 looks like we'll have that advantage. But at the line, it is really close.
Yeah, the 12 is doing a phenomenal job of pinching down this 41 just enough to not let him go, but it seems as though Weil got the bite off the corner, but Hunter's going to cross over, so move the 12 down low. Never minded that. He follows back in line, so almost crossover there by the number 12, but couldn't pull it off.
It was a great move, just didn't quite have enough steam to do it. As Miller and Poindexter, SPM teammates, battle back there for P4, give that spot to the 95, and he'll be joined in that fray by the 86, and the 21 tries to make a move to the bottom and cuts off the 86, so close call there between those two. As a side-by-side further back, Omar Diallo and Luke Lafaro going at it right now for P7, and the 77 will take that spot here in the 1, as Ethan Johnson looks like he'll try to pass that 54 as well.
Ooh, Lafaro's
wall.
Yeah, Lafaro found the outside wall off of turn number 2. Gonna open up the door for the 23, Bracero, who scoots himself down low. Also, right behind, you see, a couple cars under the wall. I think that was Dominic Howe who bounced off of it off of 4, and he's up close and personal with the 77 of Omar. Trouble in the background.
Oh, Lafaro. And Kevin White goes around. Lafaro goes up on his side and up on top of the wall there. And I do not know why that's not a caution.
Me neither.
That's something, as that thing's pretty beat up now with that contact. I think he got spun out of turn 2 and got joined down there by Kevin White, and I don't know how in the world that was not a caution, but makes a tough break even tougher for those two, as they won't even have an opportunity to repair that car under caution without losing many, many laps.
Lafaro's car is screwed up.
Oh yeah, that thing's messed up bad.
Yeah, his steering's screwed up. For the lead
here, Johnson out of 4. He'll lead at the line and will clear that 41 into 1. So the 12 with a great move there to take that top spot away, as Miller has gotten by Kendrick now for P3. So we'll see if that 95 can try to catch these top two and make this a 3-car battle here. But Kendrick is not letting him go easy.
Yep, that's right. And Miller got the bite off the corner. He got pulled ahead from this 00 of Kendrick by a car length and a half. And see there, that number 15 of Ethan Johnson slowly working himself forward. Of course, super good on the super late model side as he scoots himself to the back bumper to this number 21 of Poindexter. Up close and personal, as I said, just with Omar Diallo and the other driver he was racing earlier. But it's 15 of Johnson. Oh!
And Carson overcorrects. And the 21 goes upside down, and that will be a caution. And Carson is going to end up having to tow it with him being stuck on his roof. And man, that 15's had a lot of speed over these last couple weeks, but hasn't quite been able to get it into a win. And I have a feeling that, I don't know if the 21 overcorrected on purpose, but I'm sure he didn't appreciate that contact regardless.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, of course you're trying to save it into the corner, and that's the last thing you want to do. And up into the wall, not only into the wall, but on your lid as well. And we got a replay of it through the corner as racing here with a 21 and 15. But
15 was definitely faster here. I mean, the 15 has a good move here into one, gets into the back of the 21, just trying to save it, and just overcorrects it right into the 15 and goes right up and over. 21's probably not going to win tonight, I would imagine. It should be a lengthy repair on pit road, and the 15 will probably have to be on pit road for a bit as well. But that was a really severe overcorrect and ends up costing them both. But the 21 a lot more than the 15.
yeah, that's right. Unfortunate. A few drivers going to take the opportunity to hit pit road. Of course, it's the first caution in a couple of weeks we've had. So, couple of drivers looks like.
True.
Yeah, I know. Everybody from 8th on back have all hit pit road either for a couple of tires or 4. Dominic and Omar are electing on with 4. You see the damage on that number 77 already.
Where'd that come from? I wonder if that was from the LaFaro Kevin White bin earlier.
Yeah, probably.
It looked about the same that it did when him and LaFaro hit in the heat when the 13 ended up going upside down. So that might hinder him a bit. But yeah, new iSCAR record. We went 10 days without a caution.
Yeah.
Pretty good streak we had going there. But
yeah.
Here on lap 13, we were under the first one of the night. Though, quite honestly, we should have been under one for the LaFaro Kevin White spin. I don't know how that wasn't a caution, but this caution gives those two an opportunity now to get themselves down pit road. But I think that 54 has already called it a day based off of how his steering looked earlier.
Yeah, the steering column was sort of knocked out as he climbed the wall as well. So once the car literally smashed into the ground, it probably knocked out the steering and such. So it's going to be a lengthy repair for this 54 to get back onto the racetrack. And see as Garrett Hess, a bit of a drive through there, saying hi to his pit crew. Probably took that on purpose just to go to the back. So a smart move there by the number 91 to get out of the way. And Harrison Chandler on the other side, it seems as though he came in for just to top off on fuel. So he'll start himself in 12th.
Now that's interesting because, again, like I mentioned earlier, we did not know there was going to be a fuel window last week at Lucas Oil, and it caught us off guard. So I wonder if the 22 was thinking that there could be a fuel window again tonight that we're not really aware of, and if so, could he be good to the end right now when the other guys in this field may not be?
I don't know. It would have been close without any cautions, but I think with this caution, these drivers are going to be able to save a bit of fuel and probably make it all the way to the end. But I think we'll have another caution to not only toss out the fuel scenario, but as well as toss in tires as well as a factor. But green flag is out. Wow will try to get the jump on this number 12 of Johnson, but cannot do it. Miller finds himself to the underside of Wow, though.
Yeah, the 41 did not have a great turn one right there, and that's going to allow his teammate here to pull up side by side and try to get this runner-up spot away. As Rosero and Kendrick battle with some contact, I think, further back there, as the 41 will lose that second spot now to his teammate as Rosero tries to clear the 00, who's now under attack from Grindle in the 70.
And Grindle got a nice bite off the corner, but didn't get one off there a lot of contact.
That's Diallo and Ethan Johnson, who had just gotten into Carson on that previous yellow, and a near miss for those two. And that could have easily been another caution. So the 15's been roughing it up quite a bit so far tonight. Him and Diallo have already had multiple run-ins between the heats and tonight with different drivers. So now they have found each other, and we'll see how that battle pans out over these next couple laps.
Battle here, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Kendrick trying to fend out the 70 of Grindle, who overshoots it just a bit. We'll see if Dominic can get the nose under him. Closes the gap, but cannot find a hole under. So Dominic's going to have to reside for 7th place for now, but he's knocking on the door of that number 0. I was about to say 02. That's ironic because his sponsor is from Darling in the Franks, but number 70 of Grindle still holds strong in 6th spot, but Dominic is knocking on the door as up the racetrack. I think Ethan Johnson went again.
Yeah, I wonder if Diallo got into him, and the 15.
Whoa!
And he gets into Diallo, and he just about got him sideways, and he hits him again out of turn 4. And the 77, I think, tried to hit him, and Kevin White barrel rolls again after contact with Diallo.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's the last thing you want to do. Omar, I think, was unhappy about the contact with him and Ethan Johnson, and sort of tried to do the Poindexter.
I think he overcorrected to try to hit him and ended up clipping the 13. So that is the second time tonight now that Kevin White Jr. has barrel rolled after contact with Omar Diallo. That 13 has not had a good going of it tonight. But you'll see here in turn 3, the 15 just really sent it in there on the 77, who's trying to gather it up. 15 hits him again out of 4, and the 77's done with his crap, but unfortunately misses the 15 and clips the 13, who goes up and over again. So Diallo was trying to get that 15 back, but just flat out missed and got the 13 again instead. So been a bit of rough start here for all 3 of those cars, and I think that 77's probably going to be done for the night.
Yeah. Not only did he wreck his race car, he didn't even clip and succeed at wrecking his wrecking that 15 of Ethan Johnson. So unfortunate for him as we hit here lap number 23 of 100, and seems as though nobody has come to pit road yet. Miller has actually taken up a 2nd position, so with now Wild starting up back in 3rd, he'll be able to start right behind this number 12. We'll see if Wild could make something happen here on the low side.
Yeah, hopefully this caution gives the field a bit of time to, I guess, decompress. They've had quite the start here to the race tonight. But looks like the 77 will be done for the night, as well as LaFaro. And again, Mago, Menchu, and Hefner did not start the race, so we got 5 of the 17 in the session no longer racing. So we're down to 12 here for the rest of the night. Carson was 3 laps down, but we'll get one of those back now via the free pass. So with 2 more yellows, that 21 should find himself back on the lead lap.
Imagine that, you towed it, you're 3 laps down, and heck, you're still in the race if you catch a couple of cautions, and there's still 75 laps to go, so this 21 isn't out of it. He just had to tow because he was on his lid, but, you know, this 21, once he gets back on the lead lap, I expect him to hopefully secure probably a top 10.
I mean, he only has to get by 2 cars to get to the top 10. Could be easier said than done, though. I mean, Kevin White Jr., despite barrel rolling again, he's still on track. Currently scored in 11th. So, I mean, it'll be interesting if that 13 can try to make it to the end after the pretty crazy start to the night that he's had. But I believe he is hitting pit road now, and that will probably be a lengthy repair for him. Meanwhile, I think still 2 to go here until the green. Weil lost 2 spots on that restart, though, got passed by Hunter and Nick Miller, so our points leader now finds himself behind one of the fastest cars on the track every week and one of his own teammates. So 41's going to have his work cut out for him here to try to get those spots back in the race lead.
Yeah, that's number 12, Hunter. Unless some type of pit road mishap happens,
Green flag.
as we do take the green because I'm on replay mode. I'm hilarious. We take the green either way.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Looks like Miller has filed himself into second place. I didn't realize I was on replay mode. Apologies about that, but either way.
No, but that's even the one to go, but
yeah, that's what I
it
thought.
was. Well, didn't miss a whole lot though. Side by side right now with Brindle and Ethan Johnson, and those two nearly make contact. That
Whoa.
15 has about found everybody out on the track so far tonight. And you have to remember that at the beginning of Heat 2, the 15 threw that block on the 70 off the initial start and almost walled him. So that 15 definitely hasn't made very many friends tonight, as the 70 will drop a spot here to Dominic Cow, and the 15 will go to work on Kendrick here into turn 1.
Kendrick could not get an entry into the corner. Ethan, of course, trying to close up and pressure this double zero into a mistake. And speaking of mistakes, it looks like Wild went high a bit through 3 and 4, but luckily retains the spot for right now. A lot of drivers nose to tail, and if one slight checkup causes a bit of contact, everybody right behind sort of has to take evasive maneuvers, and that's Martinsville racing at its finest. I wouldn't say at its finest. That's just Martinsville racing. That's just a characteristic of the racetrack, as Dominic Howell slams the outside wall off of 4, but if a lot of cars are nose to tail like this, one slight checkup could cause everybody to sort of scramble all over the place. So they got to be aware of, you know, how they race around each other.
Yeah, that's something that happens at various different tracks. That, you know, the checkups like that are not limited to tracks like this, even though sometimes the effects of those stack-ups can be worse at tracks like this, especially if you end up running into the back of somebody in one of those. But meanwhile, the top 5 remains unchanged so far. Johnson, Miller, Wild, Rosero, and Kendrick, I believe, were in that order off the restart. As the double zero, speaking of, goes way up the hill, and I think he may have had some help from the 15 of Ethan Johnson, and he'll drop 2 spots to the 15 and the 86.
Yeah, so Ethan moves himself forward as Kendrick falls back to 7th. Rosero finds the outside wall and sort of clears up a gap for this number 23 and 15. Ethan, yet again, trying to move some people out of the way, and now working to the backside of this number 23 of Rosero. Has to be careful of it. I think this 15 is close to getting an incident penalty, actually. So he stands with 20x right now. Everybody either with 4 or 8, but this number 15, 20x already. Doesn't want to make any more contact, or else he's going to have to serve a drive-through. So Ethan Johnson sort of, I mean, he's trying to pressure this 23 out of the groove, but don't want to hit him too hard and which you 4x yourself. So 15
yeah, this
and
20. I mean, we know he's one of the more aggressive drivers in the field to try to, you know, get those spots. But at this point, with all those incident points he's racked up from doing that, now he's at the point where if he moves somebody else for that position, he'll be doing so at his own expense. Because if he moves anybody, he'll end up losing more time than he would have gained by making a move like that. But for right now, sits right behind this 23 of Rosero, trying to get 4th away as the 12 has started to pull away over the 95 by about a second.
Yeah, we're starting to fan out and see Kevin White, Harrison Chandler, and you see the 54 of Luke LaFaro. Even though he's 19 laps down, could get a position on the 77 of Omar Diallo here momentarily. So work ourselves through the corner. Seems as though Hunter Johnson already pulling himself forward, and they're starting to jam up, and looks like Dominic Howe a bit lower than usual, as Rosero starting to hold up everybody from, I'd say, 4th on back. Whoa, you see there, a bit of contact. This 15 trying to move the 23, but again, he has an incident penalty. I don't think he's really aware of that. Man, he's definitely there. Up the racetrack goes the 15. I mean, not the 15, but
and up and over goes Dominic, and I knew that was going to happen. As soon as the 23 went up the hill, I knew he was going to bounce off the wall like that out of 2 and hit somebody, and it ends up being Dominic Howe, and he needed a good run tonight to try to catch Christopher Weil in points, and flipping on the backstretch is certainly not going to help. So Ethan Johnson ends up, looks like basically wreck another 2 cars here. I mean, that 15 is pretty much had no regard for the rest of his competition so far tonight, and looks like Michael Rosero and Dominic Cal, the 2 most recent ones to end up in some trouble. I mean, that 15 has pretty much moved everybody that he's come across tonight.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and does now have an incident penalty, unfortunately. 24X on his resume, so he's going to have to serve it under green. And pit road he goes, and a lot of people have hit pit road, but only one person, actually a couple of drivers, going to elect to stay out. On the other side, the 95 of Nick Miller and the 22 of Harrison Chandler stay out on the racetrack, and of course LaFaro trying to get the wave around. Unfortunate for him, a couple people on the lead lap staying out, but who's going to win the race off of pit road? I'm very curious to see how it'll all go for that number 12, Hunter Johnson, and easily will take the lead. And it seems as though that has to be one of the fastest late model pit stops I have ever seen on iRacing. A 19.63 compared to Christopher Wilde's 22-second pit stop. So might have been fueling just a bit on that number 41. Curious why you want to stack on a bit of fuel, because you're on the for a super late model, you want to fill it to as little as you can. Don't want to put any fuel into the car, but because the fuel number, I mean, the fuel is customizable on this super late. It's actually customized per setup and per iRacing official week. Hence why last week we were close on fuel. I think on the iRacing side we only run like 70, 75-ish laps on the official side, and we ran 95, I think. So they cut it close, and you saw a couple of drivers had to hit pit road during that stint. So I mean, during that race, and it seems as though 95 of Nick Miller on pit road, in and out he goes, and I'll hand the 12 of Hunter Johnson the lead. But as I mentioned, on the fuel side of things, you want to keep the car as light as you can. So if you do have to fuel it, that's right.
Last week he had a good strategy going. I mean, he had to pit when Christopher didn't, as 23.
All right, man. Lights are back on the pace car. We're not going green this time. We are not going green.
But Nick played a good strategy last week. He had to pit even though those top 2 didn't, because if Christopher, I think it was Parker White, if one of those 2 or both of them ran out, the 95 would have been handed an easy win. Unfortunately for him, it came up just short, but it was worth the shot anyway. But now with these handful of cautions we had, I don't think fuel will be any sort of factor anymore. We shouldn't have to worry about anybody having to save this time around.
All right. Pick the one to go signal this time by. Not sure if Ethan have to see.
All right, man.
Oh, another delay of caution. Rosero stops again on the racetrack, so we'll go green on 48 rather than 47. Rosero still, he got an EOL from last caution, but he's just trying to let as many people by as he can, and he has to stop on the racetrack because how short the racetrack is.
Yeah, getting the order situated there, so we'll go around again. Johnson, Weil, the other Johnson, Kendrick, and Grindle will be the top 5 for the restart. But that 15, I believe, still needs to serve that incident penalty under green. So we'll see if he pits coming to the green or if we'll go around once.
Probably has to... If I were that number 15, I'd actually stay out as long as I can. And just serve it last second. Actually, I wouldn't serve it last second. Thinking it's total opposite. You want to come in ASAP. Because the track is so small.
Strategies there. We'll see if he follows the pace car in. Looks like he's not.
Can't follow the pace car in. You have to pit under the restart lap. So, as soon as the green comes out, that 15 is going to be eligible to service drive-through.
Green flag, green flag.
Back green. We are here on lap number 48. As the 12 of Hunter Johnson will lead us to it. As the and around goes the 00 off the bumper of Harry Grindle, and that'll put us right back under the yellow again. And that will probably, and now it's a lifesaver for Ethan Johnson, who will probably just have to have an EOL now, rather than serving that under green. And I think that 70 just got a bit too hot in the 1 and sent that 0-0 right around.
Yeah, you see him block the left front. Just trying to keep it off of him.
Thankfully for Kendrick, he kept it out of the wall, so not too much by way of damage. But yeah, the 70 really locked him up there in the 1, and around that 0-0 goes. Well, like I said, with that caution, I believe that's just going to have Ethan Johnson go to the back rather than having to serve a penalty under green. So it's a good break for him, as the 70 will hit pit road for presumably more tires, as Johnson and Weil looks like will stay themselves out.
Johnson, actually, I don't think that's how it's going to work. Johnson, oh, is he probably going to go to the back? No, looks like not. Still has to probably make him stop under green. So, with the caution coming out now, it stalls him from serving the penalty, and now with past halfway, his time's running out to serve that penalty. Of course,
I would have thought the caution would have just booted him right to the back, but apparently not. So he'll have to serve that pretty quickly, or else he'll get disqualified for not serving it. So he wants to get that done now as quick as he can.
Yeah, that's right, and with the long ways around on pit road, all the way to turn number 3, cautions keep coming out in turns 1 and 2. Those green flag laps, that time span, that cushion, and where you could serve your green flag, you could serve your penalty, it's going to start ticking down. So this number 15 has to get on the pit road ASAP, or else he's not going to have an opportunity. And not only that, he might get screwed here.
I think if he serves it as the caution's coming up, like if he's on pit road serving it when the yellow comes out, I think he's fine there.
Right.
But if he's not on pit road at the time of a caution, then it's going to hinder him some more. But for right now, sits in third, but again, that penalty still looms large for the 15. We've seen how he's been racing tonight. I mean, by far the most aggressive driver out on the track so far. And we'll see if that continues here for the rest of the night.
I mean, you saw there off the restart, he was sort of laying back, not really trying to pressure the top 2, because he knew he had to serve drive-through. So number 15 is in a weird place right now. You're in third place, but at the same time, you do have a penalty.
I mean, I'll say this. I mean, I don't think his competitors probably appreciate the way that he was racing them, but you know what? That aggressive racing got him into third. I mean, it may be kind of dirty to some people, but it works because he's got himself up there for the time being before the penalty, and once he serves this thing, he'll be restarting further in the back, or be further in the back, and if a caution comes out after that, we'll see if he can get himself through the field again.
Just have to see. Pacecar sees itself down on the pit road. Hunter Johnson and Christopher Weil in the meantime, top 2, going to pull themselves forward. We'll see if Weil can get the jump into 1. Looks like no, so Ethan is going to pull under this number 41. I don't think Weil is aware of the 15's penalty that he's going to have to serve, but going to be a hiccup for this number 41, who's going to open up the door for the 95. But here comes Ethan on the pit road.
He will serve that penalty now, as he'll make his way down the pit road. Remember, only 35 miles per hour is that pit road speed. It's pretty easy to speed here, and the last thing that 15 wants to do is speed while serving this penalty, because that'll set him even further back than he already is, as he'll probably lose a lap here serving this penalty. He'll have to really get himself off pit road fast if he wants to stay on the lead lap. Got a battle here for 4th. Dominic Howe and Garrett Hess going at it here. The 91 currently with that advantage. And the 86, despite flipping over earlier, still is a pretty competitive car. He'll take that spot away from Garrett.
Garrett running inside the top 5, but he's slowly starting to fade back as now Kendrick works to the underside of him, or at least tries to. Looks like he got a bit tight entering 3 and has to back up the corner, so Hess is going to retain 5th for right now, and because Kendrick got a bad corner, here comes Harrison Chandler in the 22. He works to the backside, it's number 00. We might have a battle here for 6th place here in a moment.
Looks like Ethan Johnson came off of pit road in front of the leaders. Looks like he's only about half a second ahead of his fellow Johnson right now in Hunter, so this could be interesting, because I think the 15 might try to play this as trying to stay on the lead lap, and that could potentially bottle up Hunter, maybe give Christopher an opportunity to get this lead back. So we'll see what the 15 does here and we'll see what the 12 does as well with respect to trying to get by him. But this could really make this race interesting now that the 15's in a position of trying to stay on the lead lap versus going for this lead.
Yeah, definitely, but I think the 15 has enough speed to keep himself ahead of this number 12 for a while, and I expect him to start pulling away from this number 12. I mean, he worked himself into third for a reason, and it might be a bit of a distraction to this number 12. He's slowly starting to fall back into the hands of this 41 of Wow, so can't let that lap car distract you. Just hit your marks and pull yourself forward, but that gap is slowly closing. Now 3 tenths separate top 2.
See also Robbie Gordon at Sonoma.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. 40 laps to go at the line past the halfway point here in tonight's race. Hunter still out front over points leader Christopher Weil. 2 spots ahead right now of Dominic Howe, who came into tonight second in points with a 24-point gap between the 41 and the 86. And despite that 86 flipping over on that last caution, again, his car still looks pretty good and currently runs in 4th, so I guess that flip isn't affecting him a whole lot. And speaking of people that have flipped over, Kevin White Jr. barrel rolled down the backstretch after doing so in his heat race, and he finds himself up in P7, so I guess you can flip in these cars and it's not going to affect you a whole lot.
Yeah, that's right. I think these cars are actually stronger than street stocks. I think the street stock one of the strongest cars on the service, but of course the super late has to be tough. I mean, it's built for short tracks for a reason, and it's made to have contact. I mean, of course you rather have not contact, but either way, super lates are built for it.
They're just built different.
That's right. Not to put it in an ironic way, but you know, they are just built different.
It looks like the gap between the two Johnsons is really not going anywhere. That 15 is roughly around where he was with Hunter earlier. He hasn't really pulled away that much, so in the next couple laps, this could potentially become a problem for that 12 as he tries to hold on to the lead, and indeed, that looks like that gap between the 12 and the 41 is starting to close up.
Yeah, this is what I thought for this. Yeah, that's right. This is what I thought for this number 12 of Hunter. Don't let the lap car distract you. Just hit your marks and get yourself around. But unfortunately, this lap car, he's obviously not in his way, but Wiles putting a lot of pressure to this number 12, in which he has to be a bit defensive now. So Wiles not letting go. Oh, he tags the outside wall.
Yeah, the 15 isn't like an imminent threat or anything to Hunter. He still has, you know, about, I think, half a second between them. But he's definitely in his mind, of course. Hunter can see him out of his windshield, so he knows he's there. He just can't focus on it too much right now, because right now he's going to focus on keeping that 41 behind him, and in a couple laps, it could be the 95, because Miller's right there as well now.
Yeah, that's right. I think this number 12 has to keep number 41 and number 15 out of his mind, and just hit your marks and pull yourself forward. But, you know, if Hunter starts to pull himself forward, he's going to catch that number 15, Ethan Johnson. And if he catches that 15 to Ethan, Ethan's definitely not going to move out of the way for this number 12. Ethan has a right to race on the lead lap and get himself on the lead lap. So it's going to be a bit of a bottleneck for this number 12 to maybe make something happen. You see here, the 41 of Wild scoots himself to the backside of this number 12. Can't make the pass happen, though. Doesn't have the opportunity there, but if Hunter does pull away, if he catches that number 15 at a bad angle, Wild's going to be right on him.
Yeah, he definitely knows he's there. Hunter's got to play an interesting game here again. He knows the 15's ahead of him, and if he gets to him, he's going to have one heck of a challenge to get around him. But he also knows that the 41 and the 95 are right there to capitalize if he makes any sort of mistake. So if I were Hunter, I would not want to be in his position. I think I'd rather be Wild right now than Hunter, because Hunter's got a lot more to worry about right now than the 41 does. But heck, I might even want to be Nick Miller right now rather than either of these top two. We'll see, though.
Yeah, if you're in Nick Miller's shoes, Nick is sort of minding his own business as he sees this top two sort of push the issue because of course, they're running 1 and 2 for a reason. If these top two potentially waste their tires out during these final 25-ish laps, Miller's going to be on him. And not only that, Dominic Howe is not far behind. This 86 is not out of it yet. He's up there sitting in 4th, only a second and 8/10 behind this leader. So it might be a 4-car battle potentially between these top 4. And of course, if we've got a caution, that could also reel in Garrett Hess and Ryan Kendrick in back as well.
It'd be quite the story if the car that flipped over ends up winning the race. And it's well within the realm of possibility so far tonight. So, I mean, if Dominic could pull that off, that would definitely be something here. But 25 to go at the line, so closing time right now, as Weil lost a bit of ground there despite the wiggle from the 12. So Hunter might be starting to pull away at just the right time, because I think that 15 of Ethan Johnson's also starting to pull away from the 12. So I think this is starting to go in Hunter's favor now, and it's going to make Weil's job a bit more difficult to try to get that lead back.
Hunter got real sideways off the 4 of the previous lap. The car was leaving tire tracks as he tried to correct it forward, but might have scrubbed off a bit of tire on his machine, and Weil's just getting straighter exits as well. So even though the 12's in front for right now, he might be wasting more tire than this number 41. But of course, catching him's one thing, passing him is another. So if Hunter could do all he can to just defend, and you see the gap starting to close up between himself and that number 12. So might have a battle for the lead here momentarily.
Yeah, and Martinsville is one of those tracks where sometimes the fastest car on the track is not the one that wins the race, because at a track like this, it can be very difficult to try to make a pass. So it could entirely be possible that the 41 could be faster right now than the 12 is, but it is just so difficult to try to make a move around here that the 41 may be left with no choice but to try to punt the 12 out of the way, and the 41 doesn't race like that, so I don't know if that's something we'd see at all.
Battle here for 5th spot is going to be Garrett Hess and Ryan Kendrick going to go at it. Kendrick's been knocking on the door of this number 91. He's been following in his tire tracks, as well as there's a big battle right behind. There's 4 cars in the train from Kevin White all the way to Harrison Chandler. So it's Kevin, Carson, Harry, and Harrison all trying to battle it out 7th through 10th. All these drivers all on the lead lap for right now and trying to find the best of each other. And seems as though Kevin, I think he's the slower bunch out of this whole entire 4, but he's holding strong in 7th.
Yeah, doing a great job despite flipping over earlier after the contact with Omar Diallo as he tried to get the 15 of Johnson back. But doing a good job so far, running in 7th, running about mid-pack as of right now. And speaking of that 15 of Ethan, he's going to need a caution to come out if he wants a chance to win this race. But he's still within reaching distance of being lapped by these leaders. So I think at this point, again, he's going to need a yellow to come out for him to try to get back into contention. And this 4-car battle isn't done yet. Grindle and Poindexter are going at it right now for P8. The 21 holds on to that spot for now as they stack up a bit there as Chandler almost gets into the 70.
Yeah, Chandler's going to have a chance to get by the 70, and you see the brakes just lighting up on the 70. Not only just the 70, but Poindexter as well. If we get a better angle as he slides it into the corner, everybody's brakes is just lighting up on fire. Their brakes are hot. Right there, you can see them glowing into 3. Gotta be wary of that. Of course, the hotter your brakes are, don't want to get them too hot, just in which your brakes are gonna fade. Something these drivers have to really worry about, as you see a battle right in front. Of course, Garrett Hess and Ryan Kendrick going at it, but
yeah, brakes like that, that's something you see at short tracks and road courses. Of course, for anyone that watched the Clash, that's happened to Cole Custer coming out of that chicane. His brakes just didn't, and they caught on fire. So, of course, that's not something you'll see in iRacing, but of course, it's still something you have to keep in mind as you get yourself through the night. You don't want your brakes to get too hot by any means. As Chandler gets into the 70 again, they're stacking up more here out of 4 behind that 21. As Weil looks like he's starting to lose a bit more ground to the 12. The gap between them looks like almost a second.
Yeah, it's slowly starting to fade away for this number 41 to pull off a double. Unfortunate for him. But if a caution does come out, he's going to take the gamble to stay themselves out and pull themselves up front. Here we go. Got a battle in for here as Kendrick sails it to the low side. Doesn't want to punt the 91. Had to back out of it. momentarily as both of them dead sideways off of turn number 2. Both find the outside wall, but Kendrick in it harder. Has to fade back just a bit, regather his stuff back up, and seems as though he's going to have another charge here for this top 5.
Yeah, that 00 was at a good car all night. Of course, the went around earlier with that contact from Harry Grindle in the 70, but has rebounded now, trying to get himself into the top 5. And there's a good shot here into 3, and the 91 pinches him almost into the grass right there. So Garrett's trying to do everything he can to keep that 00 behind him, but I think Kendrick's going to be able to get that spot here into turn 1, and he will do so. So good job there for the 00 to send it in there and get that spot away and put him into the top 5 once again tonight.
Yeah, Kendrick finally passed this 91. Hess did all he could to fend off for that spot, but unfortunate for him, he's not going to finish inside this top 5. In the meantime, for that battle for 8th spot, it's Poindexter, Harry, and Chandler all trying to get the best of each other. Whoa!
Oh, what a save!
And that's big contact there with Chandler, who's, of course, bottled up with Harry and Poindexter. Luckily for them,
saved by Harry Grindle. He was dead sideways in the middle of the turn.
Of course, not intentional by that 22. It's just brakes starting to lock up and such. Of course, the brakes fairly hot on that both their machines and such. So,
well, I'm sure Ethan Johnson would have preferred that caution would have come out, because that would have put him right back with the leaders again in the back of the pack. But 7 to go at the line. You see that 15 still in the wings, a bit further ahead. But for right now, it's not making much of a issue for Hunter Johnson of the 12, who's lead now for a while. Is over a second. So, barring anything crazy happening, I think this 12 might have it locked up tonight.
Looks like Kevin had a bit of contact there with the number 21 of Poindexter. He shot it back just a bit, so this regathers up everybody. Chandler trying to take a 3.
Man, that 22 thought about it. As the 70 will hit the curbs there and might hit the 21 out of 4. Looks like they won't. But man, it's a good thing Chandler didn't take it 3 wide there, because that would have ended up with probably all 3 of them going around. As Grindle and Poindexter still side by side, and the 21 gets a good run off the top out of 2, and will retain that spot for now, with the 70 with a good run to 3.
It's not over yet. Grindle and Poindexter are locked side by side. Chandler's just trying to find a way around them both. Don't want to get into them though, as big slide there from the 22 as well as the 70, and here comes Chandler back to the low side.
Oh, that is tight. And they're still right at each other's doors here. Out of 4. That is some really tight racing right now. As we go back towards the front, they're going to be coming to 3 to go at the line. So Hunter ends up dominating the second half of this race and only has 3 more laps to get himself around before getting the checkered flag. This battle's still going on as Chandler's completed the pass on Poindexter for P9, as Kendrick's starting to pull away from Garrett a bit.
Yeah, this 4-car battle is still heating up. 2 laps to go at the wire as Hunter. All he has to do is just log in 2 laps, but man, that catalyst from 7th on back is slowly brewing up to be a caution, but it seems as though they fanned out enough to probably take the white flag this time by for this number 12, and Hunter will work himself off a turn number 4. The gap between himself and Wow is 1.4. White flag this time by for the 12.
Yeah, Christopher Wilde won the pole for tonight's race, but 12 of Hunter Johnson won heat number 2 and started alongside that 41. Got by him roughly around lap 30, and it's been smooth sailing from there. And out of turn 4, Hunter Johnson will take the checkered flag here tonight at Martinsville, and he will pick up his 2nd win of the Super Late Model Series season.
What a win for that number 12. Hunter leads 93 laps, started himself in second place.
Yeah, he got by him earlier than I remember he did, but good run for Christopher Weil, though, in the points. I mean, got himself in second, with Dominic Howe getting 4th. The 41 did everything he could do to keep that points gap where it is, and it's actually going to grow a bit, as I don't think the 86 on the lap tonight. So great job for the 41, and he will extend his championship points lead. But do not count that 86 out yet, as Hunter burned it down here on the front stretch.
Congratulations to him and that whole entire team. Hunter picks up another super late model win here for tonight, and we'll go ahead pull up results here. Hunter Johnson wins here tonight. Wild runs in second. Miller, Howe, Kendrick round the top 5. Hess, White, Grindle, Chandler, and Poindexter round the top 10.
Ethan Johnson, last car in the lead lap after having that penalty, took him out of contention. He ends up 11th. Luca Faro ends up retiring early, as well as Micah Rosero and Omar Diallo. And then Stephen Mago, Jackson Menchu, and Jacob Hefner did not start tonight's race, so only 14 at the starting grid. Show is not over yet here at Martinsville. We'll be back here in just a couple moments with the top 3 interviews, so be sure to stick around here for those. Congrats once again to Hunter Johnson on his win here tonight, and we'll be back here in just a moment.
Dale Earnhardt, the defending champion, a man who has won here at this racetrack. He has been absolutely second to none in 1987.
Dale Earnhardt is on his last lap. This will be his 24th career win, his 4th win of 1987 out of 6. Dale Earnhardt wins the first Union 400 in North Wilkesboro.
Everyone's wondering what can stop Dale Earnhardt. He's on a roll, 4 wins and 6 starts. I mean, is there anybody can handle you?
There may be a little more here underneath the sheet metal.
Well, I'm sure this afternoon we'll know a lot more, and we've got 500 miles to run. We'll see what happens.
Good luck today.
A magnificent 19th annual $500,000 Talladega 500 is won by Dawsonville, Georgia's Bill Elliott, and the siren is beginning to ring. You'll probably hear it in Dahlonega. Bill Elliott has won. Davey Allison.
Elliott now getting a challenge from Tim Richmond, but he closes again right in behind Earnhardt, coming down off turn 4. And Earnhardt loses it, goes on the grass, comes back, and Elliott goes inside. And Earnhardt still got the lead. Incredible. Decent driving by Earnhardt. 7 laps to go. Earnhardt went on the grass.
Dale Earnhardt is reminding Mr. Elliott, you make one mess up like that, and I might get through.
When you come to North Wilkesboro on a short racetrack, you expect some fender to fender and even some paint trading going on out there. We've seen it already as Brett Bodine gave Jerry Kramer a nudge in the rear end, and now we're seeing some great competition out there between Dale Earnhardt and Bill.
And we welcome everybody back here live here for tonight's event. Come up post race after a fun Martinsville session. We'll go ahead and spark it off with the interview. Just get right into it. And this number 12, Hunter Johnson, second win of the season for this number 12. We'll go ahead and drag him in. Pick the victory up at Richmond. Here he is back in victory lane at Martinsville. So on the NASCAR Cup side, it's literally he's just winning on all the NASCAR sanctioned tracks. And Hunter, another victory here tonight. Congratulations, bud. Talk me through it.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, it's just I'm kind of lucky I even got into the race. I was having some hardware issues beforehand, but I kind of solved it right before we got in. Got a couple practice laps in, not much, so I kind of had to feel it out as the race went. And then was able to qualify second, which was pretty helpful. Just trying to use what I knew about the track before to put together a lap, and then as the race went on, I kind of figured out the line a little bit. Then on the first run, I was just going all out. I think I might have used up my tires a little bit too much, but it was all right because track position is really important, I guess, over tires. I was able to come down halfway, switch out my tires, and then for most of the second run, or maybe half the second run, I tried to save tires a little bit more, and then I started pushing. But I was surprised Chris was holding on pretty well when I first started to go after saving, but then I think his tires kind of got the best of him. So it was a solid race. I don't know what my chances are at this point in the points. I kind of, after last week, I was had to miss a race, so I'm not sure where that puts me. But at least this helps. It's just gonna be a long climb back to try to catch Chris before the end of the season.
Yeah, man, that is right. And of course, you mentioned toward the later end, that number 41 was putting the pressure on you toward that last green flag run. What do you think what happened there on that final run, and how'd you pull away from him and adapt?
Well, I mean, it was really hard to kind of gap or close on people. I was trying to use Ethan, who was in front of me. He was I think he was a lap down, but I was trying to use him as a gauge when I started pushing to just see how much I was, how much time I was making up. But I wasn't gaining much time on him, and I wasn't gapping much on Chris. I think this is because of the way the setup was. You're kind of hitting the rev limiter 3/4 of the way down the straightaway. So, yeah, that it made for good racing, I guess, in the back and everything, and side by side. But it just, I don't know. I mean, I was just trying to be cautious. I didn't want to overdrive or anything, not wreck, obviously. That's pretty much how I attack everything as far as runs go. That I just I'm usually more conservative once I can figure out the line. So yeah.
All right, by 10-4, Hunter Johnson wins his second race of the season here tonight at Martinsville. But before we let you go, any special want to thank you for tonight?
Yeah, I gotta thank you guys, Zeke and Dewey, for commentating Max Speed TV. Yeah.
All right, by 10-4, Hunter Johnson rounds himself out in victory lane after starting himself at second. Go ahead and see you coming to your next race, bud.
All right, thank you.
Ourselves back to the number 41, Christopher Wall.
All right, Chris, got a copy?
Yeah.
Man, won the pole for the race, won Heat 1, started herself on the pole, and then got passed by Hunter pretty early. I mean, do you think he had something for him later on in the race, or was he just too good at that point?
No, his long run pace was always better than mine, but I had him, if it came down to a one-lap shootout, maybe I had a chance.
And it's still a good run for you, of course, overall. Even though you didn't come up with the win, you did extend your points lead by a couple more points over Dominic Cow, who got himself in fourth despite flipping. So what you're going to have to do over these next couple races to make sure you can hold on to this lead and get yourself your second championship of the season.
Yeah, if I did my math right, I should have extended it by about 5 points, which gives me a comfortable 29-point lead, which is pretty close to like 2 races on the dot. So with 4 to go, I mean, I just have to kind of not give Dominic the opportunities to really gain points on me, and I can lock this thing up in 2 more races.
Yeah, that would certainly be cool if you could lock a championship up before the final race. It would take a whole lot less pressure off. So we'll see how that pans out for you. But before I let you go tonight, any sponsors you want to thank here?
Yeah, I always want to give a shout out to my SPM teammates. Nick Miller was encouraging me to try to bump and run Hunter Johnson, but I wanted that 0x bonus point, and I knew Hunter was better than me all night, so I was never going to race him like that.
Sometimes thinking bigger picture is better off, and that bonus point certainly will help. you in your championship run. Christopher Wild, runner-up here tonight here at Martinsville. Hope to see you back here for the rest of the season.
Yep, see you next time.
Go ahead and drag in the number 95, Nick Miller, into the booth. Into the booth he goes. He only led one lap under caution, but otherwise than that, Nick, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, you were a part of that top 2 battle, but you were slowly inching yourself forward there toward the latter half of the race, but you started yourself all the way back in 5th place and round yourself out 3rd. Congratulations, bud. Walk me through tonight's race.
Martinsville is honestly a track that I don't like at all. So, to get a top 3, I'll take it. I mean, I know points are kind of, besides Chris is gone, but besides Chris, points are close, so I kind of took that one lap to stay out on pit road, get the extra lap, so I'm pretty sure I'll pass Dom in points or be tied. Who knows where Hunter's going to be placed, but hopefully I'm 2nd in points. But overall, the race was pretty good. I didn't realize I had deep yet to drive it in on entry, so it took me a while, but then eventually I picked up on it following Hunter's line.
Yep, and that brought you home a 3rd place finish here for tonight. Congratulations. Of course, you had to stay out. Decided to stay out. You just getting the extra bonus point?
Yeah, that's about it.
Alright, bud. 10-4. You ran yourself out 3rd here for tonight. But before I let you go, any spots you want to take here?
SPM Racing. I think it was me, Chris, and Carson. Carson got flipped, and I think he still ended up lead the lap, so yeah, I had a good drive through the field. And then Chris, of course, just sitting behind Hunter, being scared to pull the bump and run. What a scaredy cat. Wow.
Alright, bud. 10-4. Nick Miller rounds himself out in 3rd. Go ahead and see you coming next week, bud. I'll be it here for tonight, and of course, Dewey just round us out with the rest of the week on how it's going to go here for the iSCAR Racing Series.
Yeah, pretty short and sweet here for tonight, of course. This is road course week here for the round of 10. The trucks and the Xfinity Series will both be at Watkins Glen. The trucks on Friday and the Xfinity cars on Sunday. And the Cup Series will be at the Charlotte Roval on Saturday night. So it should be a pretty good slate of races here this weekend. And we'll see how these guys fare on the road courses now that there's chase spots on the line. So be sure to come back and tune in here for those. But that'll do it here for us tonight. Congrats once again to Hunter Johnson on picking up the victory here in tonight's race at Martinsville. And for Ezeckiel Reyes, I am Dewey Schramm. Thanks for watching